I thought it was bad to be covered in fish and blood, but watching people in my office collapse from stress and leave on a gurney, that was a whole different level. I did not want my life to be like that. So let me backtrack. When I was 7, my dad took me to work at our fish market. I swore the family business wasn't for me. So I tried everything but fish. Insurance, banking. I even worked in a frozen yogurt shop / combo video rental store. But no matter what I did, all roads led back to San Pedro Fish Market. So how the hell did I become the CEO and star of an Amazon series? Stick around and I'll tell you more. Hey, I'm Mike Ungaro, CEO, visionary, and business owner of the Kings of Fish TV series on Amazon Prime and the legendary San Pedro Fish Market. Under my leadership, we saw double-digit annual sales growth for over a decade and became the second most visited attraction on the Western Seaboard, second only to SeaWorld. What does that mean? It means we brought in 2 million customers a year. On this channel, you'll get an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to run a multi-generational business that's been operating since 1956. The highs, the struggles, and the unique challenges of working with family. You'll see firsthand what it takes to keep a seafood empire thriving while also producing our TV series Kings of Fish, which you can watch right here on YouTube and on Amazon Prime. So subscribe now so you don't miss anything. All right, let's get into it. So when I was 7 years old, my dad, I convinced him to let me go to work with him because I wanted to hang out with my dad and see him, and he was working a lot. And so I spent an entire summer shoveling ice and shoving freezing cold pieces of fish into plastic bags. It was a business called Shamrock Seafoods. We still own it. That entire summer was fun to hang out with my dad, but I was not down with that, man. It was hard and cold and freezing. So I took ages 8, 9, and 10 off and just decided I was going to play. But I learned a lot. You know, my dad paid me like $1 an hour. Ice Cream Man loved me. And it was a good learning experience, and I got to hang out with him a lot. Now, fast forwarding to about 1982, I'm now 11, going on 12. The new business is opening, San Pedro Fish Market, the business that my family was going crazy trying to get open. My mom got real sick with gallstones, which at the time, you know, now it's like outpatient surgery, but at the time it was a big deal. You know, like the nurses were telling her, tell your kids you love them, you might not wake up. So it was kind of a scary thing. But now 11 going on 12, the new business opened, San Pedro Fish Market and a restaurant. My family was working around the clock to get it open, and the goal was we got to be open on Good Friday. So I remember that whole week of Holy Week, nobody went home, everybody worked around the clock. I was in school, but as soon as we opened, I had to go to work with my dad because my mom was sick. So my brother and John and I, we would go to work with my dad early in the morning, setting up the smoked fish case, which is what we were cooking at our other place in Wilmington, Shamrock, going back to age 7 where I worked. And this was new. We had never done a restaurant before. It was a new concept. There's a lot of story behind that I'll explain another time to y'all, but it was really interesting and fun about it. But again, here I am covered in fish and blood, and every time I thought this is miserable, I'm now 12 years old. What am I doing here? My friends are still having a good time, and here I am, early mornings, freezing cold, covered in blood, covered in fish, covered in scales, covered in smoked fish. And that's when I would hear from my dad and my uncle, his business partner. You think about this when you decide whether or not you want to go to college. And so that's what I did. I left. I went to college as soon as I could. I took that entire summer off the year after college. My dad was kind of cool. He said, listen, you've been working since you were 7, even though I didn't work 8, 9, to 10. And he's like, why don't you take all the money you saved and have some fun? Take the summer off, do some stuff with your friends. You're going to be working and going to school pretty much the rest of your life, so enjoy the summer. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. So that's what I did. I hung out with my buddies, had a good time, and I decided I want to go back. And that's where I went, and I worked in a video rental / frozen yogurt store. From there, I actually got a job working as a bank teller. I'm now in college. I eventually transferred into University of Southern California, USC. From there, I went into banking and then ultimately insurance, and hated all of it. It's like, Dad, I don't really like the way things are looking here. I'm watching people get sick at work, have one person didn't wake up in his bed from the stress. Somebody else went out on a gurney. I don't think the cubicle life is really for me. And I was engaged to get married, and I wanted to be able to buy a home, and I just couldn't see a way forward. And technology was changing the marketplace. An entire level of people that I would have got, like where I would have gotten promoted to, got demoted and replaced by computers. And that's going all the way back to late 90s. So I saw sort of the writing on the wall, and I realized I think being an entrepreneur working for my family might have more potential. So I went back to work for the family business, reconnected with my dad. He wasn't super excited about it. He goes, why did we pay for college for you to come back here? And I had some mixed feelings about that. I wanted to hang out with him. I wanted to learn the family business, but I also realized like I don't want to be in this cubicle life anymore. And then, unfortunately, my dad passed away very, very suddenly. I used to go to the gym and work out with him in the morning, try to get him in shape. And the one day I didn't go to the gym with him, he actually passed out on the elliptical. He died actually on the elliptical. skeptical. It's terrible. The only reason I didn't go is my 2-month-old daughter, our firstborn, was getting her shots that morning. And so I said, Dad, I won't be at the gym. I'm going to the doctor with my daughter. And actually, I didn't even make it there because we all ran to the gym. And, that's where the paramedics were. And they took him to the hospital and he didn't make it. So it was like a very interesting time because I remember my daughter and my brother's son, who are about the same age, had their baptism on a Friday or Saturday actually, and I think the funeral was the day before on a Friday. Same church, same family. It was like a weird scene out of The Godfather that I would never want to have to relive. But, I went to work Sunday, sat in his chair, did his job, and had to really come to terms with like, what am I doing? He didn't want me to be here. He wanted me to do something else. And maybe I shouldn't let him down. So I left eventually. First, I took over the Wilmington store, going all the way back to age 7. It had become a restaurant now. It wasn't just a fish market selling whole fish and retail and wholesale. It actually had become a restaurant. So I said, I had an idea for a seafood concept. I'm going to test it out in our Wilmington location. And we added a few hundred seats, and I felt like I knew everything I needed to know. And I took that knowledge and I decided to leave and open my own restaurant. A lot of story behind that, but I thought, I think I know enough, and I think this would be something to be proud of me to do. Open my own restaurant. Disaster. Oh my God. So now I'm 2 daughters in, married a few years, and my wife's about to have our 3rd child. 6 weeks before that birth, I opened a restaurant called Casa Camarón in the city of Carson, and I thought I knew enough, and I had gone back to business school, and I was studying business, and I was testing all these theories and things and making them pragmatic and all the knowledge from the family business. I jumped in, I opened this restaurant, and I didn't get paid. I couldn't pay myself. I tried to pay everybody else, but I couldn't pay myself because we just weren't cutting it for, like over a year, and eventually we had to close that down. Came really close to bankruptcy. The only plus was I had created a corporate catering business out of it, and that was a learning experience for me. But ultimately, I ended up having to return to the family business. My dad's gone now, and one of my aunts, his youngest sister, was kind of really looking out for me and helping me out. She was like, if you want to do this, you should do it now. You might not have another chance. And then I came back to work for the family, and she passed away very unexpectedly. And so nobody really understood what she was doing running the finances of the business. And so they came to me and go, you went to college, you ran your own businesses, can you help us out? We're really good at running the business as far as filleting the fish, cooking the fish, serving the fish, shrimp trays and all that stuff, but we just don't know what she was doing in the office. Like all that sit down at a desk stuff seemed kind of lazy and ridiculous to us. Maybe you could help us figure it out. And so here I am sitting at her desk with my sister, who was sort of her administrative assistant. I'm like, so what was she doing? I don't understand what she was doing. And as we're looking through it, she's like, well, here's some stuff that I think it's insurance. I don't know what to do. Oh, I worked in an insurance company. We need to get this paper signed, and this is how this works. And she goes, I think this is banking. Oh, I worked in a bank. I understand how this works and what we need to do here. And so I had this total goosebump moment that if I hadn't left and tried all these other career paths that failed for me, whether it was the business I tried to open or the banking and insurance background, all that information gave me, or all those experiences gave me information I wouldn't have had otherwise. So I was able to sit down in her chair and help reinvent the role that she had as our director, CFO of the company. And it gave me a really good insight into what our business was doing and how I could be part of it. And as a result of that, we were able to take the business in a different direction, keep it open during a whole bunch of terrible times. And the way I saw it was this was an opportunity to change this into what I think would be a media company by telling our stories. And that led to sort of this evolution of how do we become a national brand. I created a retail line of products. We had them in about 6,000 grocery stores at one point. It was a meal kit, 3 meal kits actually we created. We packaged our seasoning, we packaged our sauces. We started to sell those online. And all this made for great stories. And what I realized was nobody knew who we were, what we're doing. If I looked on what was becoming social media and I listened to the stories or read the stories that people were telling about us, oh, they're like a swap meet down in Tijuana. I'm like, where did that come from? That's not our family story at all, but we weren't telling our story. We let the customers tell the story, and they made up all kinds of stories. So what I did was got involved with social media and used my storytelling background, something that I had been studying in my business classes for some time. And eventually that led to what became Kings of Fish. And eventually that got onto Amazon Prime. So how did we create a TV series on Amazon Prime? Well, stick around. I'm going to tell you all about it next time. My name is Mike Ungaro. Hope you enjoyed my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. You can also check out all the episodes of Kings of Fish right here. You can learn more about our restaurants at sanpedrofish.com, or you can follow our social media handles at San Pedro Fish. And to watch the show and learn more about the show, you can go to our social media handles at Kings of Fish. Next time, I'll take you through how we partnered with Amazon Prime and created our own TV show. See you then.